Welcome to this first part in a six-part webinar series for strength training for women. You're obviously here because you're interested in strength training for women, and maybe some of you here, which we know, might be over the age of 40. Might be over the age of 40. This is perfect for you. You might be, might not be, but even so, it's still important for women to do it at any age. So just to introduce the people that are watching back on the recording, for the people that obviously in this webinar now probably already know me, or they do already know me well enough, but who's this bearded idiot? My name's obviously Mark. You've probably been told that. I've been in the industry about 25 years, so I'm older than most personal trainers. I think I'm older than most personal trainers' birth date as well, so I've been around a while. I mainly teach MVQs in personal training, but I also have got my own clients. Some of the clients are on here today. And I've worked in many places. I know British people aren't particularly good at selling their sort of their career, but that's my little brag that I've worked here, there, and everywhere around the country: UAE, India, Doha, other places as well. And then some things about me you probably already know: massive nerd. Anything nerdy I love, and I like cake, and I give great hugs, which some of you will know on the call that I've hugged you before. That I think I give great hugs. Okay, I've been told that, not by me. So that's me. So all the information that you're getting today is going to be based on it's going to be based on science. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a GP. I'm a personal trainer that trains personal trainers, and I've been doing this for many years. So it's going to be some no-nonsense advice, but there's going to be certain limitations with my own understanding of the subjects and my own advice. So if at any point when we do the Q&As at the end and you ask some questions, I may need to refer out, because I'm not going to be that person that can give you everything, unfortunately. Okay. Cool, so that's me. So moving on to like what's going to come over the next 6 weeks, just to give you a little bit of a sort of taste and some anticipation. Today's going to be on strength training for women, why it should be a priority for women over the age of 40 especially, but also for any women of any age. Then we're going to move on to how to build a workout. So from these webinars, I want all the people to attend, to be able to build their own workout without the use of a personal trainer. So it sort of feels like it's making my job redundant, but I can hopefully attest that my clients stay with me for various other reasons other than giving someone just a workout. I think I do more than that. Then we're going to move on to training around your menstrual cycle, which seems a little bit weird for a guy teaching this in a lesson to women, but I've been told by many of my clients over the years that most women don't understand their cycle, what stages, what phases are, how it affects your workout. So we're going to go through that. Then we'll do a nutrition webinar. So I've called it weight management, because obviously a lot of women are interested in maintaining a healthy weight, not just losing weight, but maintaining a healthy weight. And then the last couple is more for the people that are going through perimenopause, or through the different phases of perimenopause. And then maybe some of you out there might be at the end of that phase of your life. And then lastly, it's the recommendations of what you should and shouldn't be doing with regards to training and nutrition. Running is probably not the one that you should be doing for long periods of time. So we'll give you some facts and figures in week 6 on the things that you should be doing to tell your other halves you don't need to be running, as you mentioned. So that's what's coming up. But today we're going to cover why strength training should be a priority. So what we're going to cover today is just a few common health problems that women have to deal with, certainly that compared to men. We're going to go then through the myths of strength training, because even though it's 2024, loads of people are still being told complete and utter nonsense, either online or in person. I see it when I'm training in the local gym I go to. I overhear what people have been telling each other, and it's still just crazy what we still believe and perceive. And then the last couple of bits is like this, what I call a superpower of strength training, like why it's going to benefit So which is going to be linked back to those common health problems that a lot of women have. And then just a little bit of tips and tricks of how to get started. So I'm not going to give you anything yet. That's going to be next week's lessons, how to plan a workout and what goes into an effective workout for a woman for various goals. But certainly how to get started so you've got some direction to go in. So a lot of people that come and train with me, they probably know what they're doing or they've got an interest in that, but they don't have that direction or even that belief in that they can do those things. Okay, so that's what we're covering today. So we'll go into the first one, which is going to be common health problems that women face. So there's loads, as you know, being women on the call, you know you've got many probably, or you've experienced many more health problems over the years. I've just picked out some of the key ones that will be linking to strength training. So there is many more. We're not going to be covering more specific things like polycystic ovaries, because that's just going to be a whole webinar just on that. But I've got the key ones that typically come up over the years, certainly as you're getting older, into your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and so forth. So the first one is going to be about bone health. So osteoporosis, arthritis are more common in women over men. So some of those facts and figures you see on the screen there, like 1 in 2 women over the age of 50 could possibly break a bone once in those years. I know from someone on the call now, one of my clients on the call, one of her friends has recently broken a bone, and she is of that age. So maybe it could have been because of that. It could have been because she's got more bristle bones. So as we age, or as women age, bone density can decrease 20%. Certainly the first 5 to 7 years after menopause. So that post through at the end of that phase through the life of going through perimenopause. So a significant bone loss. Also, osteoarthritis can also affect 1 in 4 women over the age of 45. These things are linked to hormonal changes. So estrogen that is then dropped as we're going through that perimenopause will affect that bone health, because we need that estrogen to help us build healthy, strong bones. And also in women, purely because of how their hips are made up compared to men, women have wider hips than men. So what's called the Q angle. So basically their angle of their quad, so the quadricep, so their hip down to their knees is a lot more severe, by up to maybe 4%, which doesn't seem like a lot compared to a man, but there's a lot more pressure on the inside of the knees. So there's a lot more wear and tear on those joints, on those ends of the knees. So it's really important that we do strength training to promote some bone health or stronger bones as well. So that's one of the first problems that women will definitely face. Men face it as well, but women, because of that phase through the life of perimenopause, that reduction in estrogen, it will then affect bone growth and building or maintaining strong bones. Next one. It's getting worse, isn't it? We've got muscle loss. So the typical fancy word for it is sarcopenia. This is where we obviously start to lose muscle mass as we age. So around about 5 all the way up to 10% muscle mass per decade after the age of 30. So we're not talking 40s, 50s, we're talking as young as 30 years old. And then after 50, again, because of that potentially perimenopause, we then start to lose even more muscle. Again, because of the hormones is affecting muscle growth. And because most women generally, as a percentage, are less active in a physical manner, like a resistance manner. So if you look at the stereotypical jobs that men still do to this day, tends to be a bit more manual labor type jobs compared to maybe more office jobs. Men tend to do more resistance training type movements in the gym, as well as a more manual labor job. So generally they've got more muscle tissue as they age. Whereas women after the school leavers age, they tend to become less active. And because of confidence or lack of education or lack of guidance, they're not pursuing things like resistance training, which I know some of you on the call today love to do. But that's probably because you've been brainwashed by me, isn't it, really? Well, I've sung those praises. So, again, it does affect men, but it affects women far more for those reasons as well. Weight gain and metabolism changes. Okay, I'm sure most women will certainly feel this. After a certain age, we start to feel like we can't maintain a healthy weight or a weight that we want to maintain, and we'll see a reduction in metabolic rate, which links back to the first one, which is that loss of muscle tissue over the years. Because less muscle on the body means that you're going to be burning less calories, and we're also less active. But again, through that perimenopause, those hormone levels that are fluctuating, that are changing, will affect our metabolism. Okay, it can be quite severe for some women, and most women through that phase of life, through perimenopause, they'll start to pile on a little bit more weight around their midsection, around more their hip, abdomen. And then again, that's due to that fluctuating changes in hormones. So people that are on the call today, or anyone else, if you're of that age and you're going through that phase, or you think you're going through the phase, or you are going through that, you probably would probably agree that you maybe feel like it's a little bit harder to keep the weight off around your midriff, and that's purely because of those hormone changes. And guys, we don't get that, really. It's fairly constant until a certain age, and we get that drop in testosterone, but that's pretty much it. But for women, it's a lot harder. And then lastly, this is certainly going to come into more of an issue if you've had kids, if you've had a couple of kids as well. But urinary and pelvic health, the general term of pelvic health. The typical thing of peeing yourself when you're exercising, peeing yourself when you're laughing, peeing yourself when you're jumping up and down. It could happen because of the stress of childbirth. If you've gone through natural childbirth, and also cesarean childbirth will still affect that area. And again, as we age, those drops in estrogen, the changes in hormones will affect that feeling of like you're peeing yourself, feel like you've got no control of keeping the pee in, as to put it bluntly. And almost up to 50% of women over the age of 50 are often linked to weakened pelvic floor muscles. Okay. So again, if you've got kids, it's just like amplified even more. Never mind as you're getting older. As we've gone through these, I'm not painting a very good picture of being a woman and B, getting older. But unfortunately, there's nothing much we can do about the getting older and being a woman. But there is things that we can do to try and combat these things. But those are the four typical health problems that many women will face as they age. So the people that are on the call now may feel and put their hand up and go, yes, that's me. I've had that before. Or they maybe know someone that has suffered from some of those health problems. And again, the reason why I've picked these is because strength training can actually help these health problems. Even if we start them later in life, in our 60s and 70s, we'll still get some of those benefits. So I'll move on to now the myths then of strength training. So I've chosen 8 myths. I'm not going to go through all 8 because we'll be here all day. And it's the evening on a Wednesday, and you've probably got other things to do as well. You don't want to listen to me waffle on. But I'm going to go through the first 4 again, so another 4. So I'll go through all 8 here, but we're going to spend a bit more time on those first 4 myths and almost hopefully dismiss them. So the first one's going to be lifting weights will make you bulky. Typical one that comes out. Next one, strength training is only for the young. Cardio is better for weight loss. I need to train for hours every day to make progress. I need to use light weights for toning. Strength training will hurt my joints. Women can't be strong. Women shouldn't be strong, maybe. And strength training is only for men. So you may have heard these terms. You may have heard other people say it. You may even perceive it yourself because you've been misinformed and the experiences that you had. That's how you feel. But we're going to go through the first 4, but I can tell you that all 8 are complete myths. They're not all true, or none of them are true. The first one, lifting weights will make you bulky. This one's a difficult one because my perception of bulky is different to your perception of bulky, to the next person's perception of bulky, and so forth. We've all got a concept of what bulky looks like. So the reason why I've used that picture there is obviously a very lean, athletic woman. For some women looking at that, they may go, that's too bulky. For some women, they may look at that and go, oh my God, she looks amazing. That would be my view of that. But I can't tell another woman what bulky means. I can only share how I feel about what the actual word bulky means. So this can be quite a delicate subject to address with women. I can't really say, look, that you're not bulky. But if they perceive that they are bulky, then that's their perceptions. There's nothing I can really do to change that. It's up for them to change their mind if they want to. But generally, because muscle development is linked closely with things like testosterone, so the male hormone, most women won't get to the size of what they think they would get to. So I think when women think of muscular females, they think of like CrossFit, which is an extreme. They think of bodybuilding, which is an extreme. They don't think of just a healthy woman that goes to the gym regularly 3-4 days a week doing some weight training. They perceive it as that extreme. And because women have got 10 times less testosterone than a man, it's going to be very hard for them to bulk up significantly. You'll build muscle as a woman, training hard in the gym, but for most women, it will just help you look slimmer. You feel more toned. So toning itself is a mixture of lower body fat and actual muscle tone. So muscles feeling firm, that requires you to build muscle. So it's going to be really difficult for a woman to bulk up. They need to eat a lot of food. They need to train very, very hard. They need to do a lot of volume, times per week, minutes per session. And they probably need to have an abnormal amount of testosterone, which for a lot of women, in fact, 99% of the women that aren't taking some dodgy supplements, that shouldn't be the problem. I think the perception is when you start to lift weights, if you've got some excess body fat and you build a little bit of muscle, potentially, if you don't lose the body fat, your clothes may feel a bit tighter, so you feel like you're bulking up. But generally, fat, it looks bulkier than muscle. So if you were to put on a half a stone of muscle, which would be fantastic for your body, make you stronger, make you feel more toned, help increase your metabolic rate, that wouldn't actually physically make you look that bulky. So going back to this picture here, obviously it's airbrushed, isn't it? It's highlighted in areas of muscles. But if you were to meet this lady in person, she probably would be quite petite and quite small if you were just to see her in normal clothes. Okay, so in theory, weights don't make you bulky. Lots of food make you bulky. You pardon the weight. Strength training is only for the young. So this is probably being led to believe by social media or the young skinny girls in the gym that are wearing those crop tops and hot pants. We're led to believe that only young people should be doing heavy lifting and strength training. But like any age, you could start a strength training routine. So some of my clients over the years have been in their 60s when I've started training them. So if someone can start in their 60s and going into their 70s strength training, then someone at the age of 30, 40, 50 can start strength training. It's crucial for women to start to build muscle. So as they're getting older, their metabolic rate stays much, much higher than the average person. And it'll then sort of help with building stronger bones and help with delaying that excess muscle mass, excess weight gain, help with pelvic floor health. So all those common health problems, strength training is going to help, even if you start it at an older age. Next one, cardio is better for weight loss. Again, this is a bit debatable, but I class it as a myth because cardio burns calories. So initially the weight loss is quite quick, but to maintain that weight loss, you've got to continually do lots of cardio. So cardio burns calories as you're doing it, But weight training burns calories as you're doing it, although a little bit less. But actually, because you've hopefully built a little bit of muscle in the body, you'll have a higher metabolic rate. So long term, for fat loss, weight training is the key. Cardio is not always the best. There's some really good benefits of doing cardio, but it might not be the best way for losing weight. And also, if you think about cardio, if you've ever done a spin class or high intensity work, or you've worked quite hard in the gym, most people for the next few days will feel ravenous. Certainly if you're doing things like spin classes, you almost can't get enough calories. So you end up overeating calories because you're so hungry. The strength training may make you a little bit hungrier or more hungry, but actually you're more likely to be able to contain the appetite compared to doing a ton of cardio. Well, it does have its place. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's not the best for weight loss. And then lastly, on the myths, you need to be training for hours a day. If you speak to my clients, we do no more than an hour. Sometimes we do less. Part of that hour is normally a little bit of chin wag as well. So they're probably doing around about 45 minutes of actual real work. They're working hard, but they're not doing as long as you think they would. Whereas most people who look on social media will lead you to believe that you need to spend hours and hours and hours and hours in the gym. That's not the case. 2-3 times a week, 20 to 45 minutes is more than enough. As long as you're consistent, that's the hardest thing, I think, for people to get their head around. I know certainly on the call today, one of my clients is very consistent. And the other one that's on there as well, when she was training with me, very consistent, twice a week, 3 times a week. And they see some really good results with that. So it's more important to do the consistency rather than lengthy sessions. So there is loads and loads of myths, but there's some of the key ones that I've pulled out that people comment on a regular basis. But as I said, going back to that slide with all those 8 on there, they're all complete nonsense. They're all just made up. There's no science behind it. It's just people's perception and what they think is best. Okay then, last few little bits. Superpowers then. So hopefully I've not scared you into doing strength training. I'm promoting strength training for women. I've gone through some of the myths to try and prove that it is for you. We've gone through some of the health problems. Again, I'm trying not to scare you, just to help you realize that these things for some people are inevitable, but strength training can help. Okay. So superpowers of strength training builds muscle. So I've mentioned this before earlier on in the webinar. It's going to build muscle, means you're going to have less muscle wastage. So that sarcopenia, you're going to delay sarcopenia. And it means that you're going to be able to burn more calories. Your metabolic rate is going to be higher. So your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, will be higher, okay? Which is going to be great for maintaining a healthy weight. It's going to be armor for your bones. So if you've got stronger bones, if you've got a stronger body, if you're doing weight training, your bones naturally will be stronger. So what's called weight-bearing activities like strength training will promote bone health. It'll make your bones stronger. You delay the things like arthritis, and hopefully you'll delay or even prevent osteoporosis. Sneeze with confidence is something that a client said to me before, is when they've come to me, they want to be able to sneeze with confidence, meaning that they don't want to pee themselves every time they laugh, jump up and down, maybe do some skipping, some running. Strength training, certainly if you're spending a little bit of time doing some core work and some pelvic floor work, will help improve that pelvic health. So you're less likely to pee yourself when you're giggling, when you're laughing, when you're jumping, when you're coughing as well, when you're sneezing. And then the last couple, which I think are probably the most powerful for me, because certainly the positive mind switch, I was quite a very low confident child when I was growing up as a teenager, and strength training made me feel like a badass. Me being stronger, me lifting more weights in the gym, somehow they had this magical power that made me feel more confident outside of the gym. So much so that I went into a career of personal training. Without strength training and feeling like a badass, I don't think I would have carried on. I would have gone a different route, probably a more introverted route. And obviously, if you feel powerful in the gym, you'll feel powerful when you're out of the gym to make maybe business decisions, lifestyle decisions. So it's one of the things that I feel quite passionate about, that it's, okay, you will physically look better, you'll be able to move better, you'll be able to lift big, heavy weights, but also mentally you feel so much better. So hopefully I'm changing some of your minds that maybe on the fence. This is what the first webinar is about education of some of the health problems that's going to be leading up into later life. And then how strength training, actually, if you've been on the fence, either you started it, you're not quite sure if you're doing the right thing, or maybe you should be doing something else like classes or spinning, or maybe you're just in that contemplation stage of, okay, strength training seems like something that I could do. Hopefully I'm sort of promoting that so you can make that first step, and which we're going to help you with on these webinars. I've got one slide here, just because I get this question quite a lot, certainly when I'm teaching courses, which is a little bit off topic, just so you know, just a little bit more of an education. BMR. So if you heard the term BMR, it stands for basal metabolic rate. So it's basically how many calories your body needs at complete rest. So when I say that your BMR will increase when you've built a bit more muscle, basically means that when you're resting, so imagine you lying in bed all day and doing nothing, which would be a blessing, wouldn't it? It would be amazing for mums and people that work full time to just lie in bed all day. I don't think you've got that privilege. But if you just do that all day and do nothing else, that would be your total calorie needs for the day. So as you build muscle, your basal metabolic rate will increase, so you burn more calories. So you're less likely to pile on the weight, certainly as you age. Which is a little bit off topic. We'll cover this a little bit more in the nutrition webinar, but I'll put that in there because I know it was in one of the previous slides, and some people do ask that question. I know I get it a lot on courses. Cool. So how to get started before we finish? Really simple tips. 2 to 3 times a week is more than enough for most people. Even just twice a week, which doesn't seem like a lot, is quite powerful. Rep ranges should be a lot less than you think, or maybe you've done before. A lot of women I see will do 15, 20 reps because they don't want to bulk up. They've been told it's for toning, which again is that one of those myths. But 6 to 10 is that nice figure. Below 6, you're going into pure strength training. That takes a little bit of skill and a little bit of confidence. So initially, anything in between 6 to 10 is a great starting point with a good rest. So you make sure you're resting, so you're not doing things constantly back to back. It's not a circuit class. We're doing strength training. And what we want to do as well is bang for your buck exercises, squats, rows, presses, deadlifts, lunges, anything that involves lots and lots of muscle groups. You burning a ton of calories, you using a lot of your muscles in your body will be better. It means that you can get in and out of the gym in a quicker time. And then obviously when you start, just think about utilizing body weight. If you're in the gym, using machines because you'll feel safe because they're safer to use. And then as your confidence builds, then start to utilize things like kettlebells, dumbbells, barbells. Things like kettlebells, TRX, like the suspension trainers, are fantastic for women because they're not tend to be. They don't tend to be in the free weight area. They tend to be in what's called the freestyle area. So a lot of women, as they transition away from machines and away from body weight, they can go into lifting big, heavy kettlebells or supporting their body weight on a suspension trainer without the fear of looking stupid or feeling like they look stupid because they think that free weight area is the male area. We need to incorporate as well some specific core work when we do our workouts where we can, because again it's going to help promote pelvic health, so you're not peeing yourself and you're laughing and jumping and doing life. And then one of the last ones there, aim to work towards a weight that challenges you. You need to get to that point where you're struggling to finish a set. I think often women, maybe because of confidence, maybe the belief that they can actually do that, they don't challenge themselves to lift a little bit more of the weight. So if you can do 5, 6 more reps after you finish the set, it's probably too easy. So go for a weight that challenges you to complete the whole set. So maybe you've only got 2 or 3 reps left in you. And then lastly, obviously, what I try and do with my clients is have a bit of a giggle, do fun things. So sometimes you have to do exercises that will give you a certain benefit and you might not 100% enjoy them, but generally everything that you do in the gym, you should enjoy. So if you enjoy doing barbell work and squatting and deadlifting and picking big heavy weights above your head, do that. If you enjoy things like circuit classes that's restore resistance based, go do that. If you enjoy doing stuff at home with bands and body weight, go do that. If you enjoy kettlebells, throwing a cannonball around, throwing it above your head, passing it through your legs, do that. The main thing is that you enjoy yourself, and then through that process, you start to learn what your body's capable of. So rather than taking away from your body and trying to make it smaller and trying to make it less, you're trying to challenge and to show the world and show yourself that you can do it, certainly when it comes to weight training. So hopefully through the past sort of 30 minutes, 30 minutes, I've educated you a little bit on some of the health problems that you may be experiencing or you're going to experience. And then hopefully I'm sort of leading you down that path of, yes, weight training is for me. I definitely want to do this. I want more. So if that's the case, next week you're going to learn how to plan a workout, how to build a workout, or a simple method that's going to be really effective for a woman to utilize in the gym. So, questions? Has anyone got any questions? Next week is going to be how to build a workout for a woman, specifically for a woman. So there's certain things that we need to think about when we're training women. That I have to think about when I'm training a woman over a man. That'll be the next. And then probably number 3 and number 4 might be the most popular for most of the people training around your menstrual cycle, understanding the different phases as you go through your period and how you're feeling and not being too hard on yourself. And then if you're of a certain age, perimenopause, that'll be quite interesting in the last sort of couple of weeks before Christmas. So that's it for now, really.